The glowing red-orange sun just over the pyramids. There's not a verb in that set of words, and that's why it sounds a bit incomplete. Do we know if the sun is setting or rising? No, we don't. Without verbs, our language would be rather boring. Verbs hold everything together, the subject and its modifiers to the object and its modifiers. The glowing red-orange sun sets slowly just over the pyramids. Ah, so much better. In this lesson, we'll learn about verb types, simple verb tenses, verb forms and functions, and perfect and progressive tenses. Let's start with verb types, of which there are three: action, linking, and helping. When you think about verbs, you probably think of action verbs. They're usually the easiest of all the verbs to identify. Here are a few examples. The cat nuzzled against the table leg. My daughter brought me breakfast. He ran faster than his opponents. Now, sometimes an action verb is followed by what we call a direct object, a word that receives the action. In our first example, the cat nuzzled against the table leg. In order to determine which word is the direct object, we have to ask what was nuzzled. Nuzzled being the verb. Was it the cat? Nope. Was it the table? Nope again. How about the leg? Yep, the cat nuzzled the leg. All the other words are just modifiers. Where on the leg? Against it. Which leg? The table leg. All modifiers. How about the second one? What's the question? My daughter brought me breakfast. Yeah, the question is, what was brought? Or what did my daughter bring? And what did she bring? Yep, breakfast. And in our third example, we can only answer the question, how did he run? Faster, which is a modifier that answers how, which is an adverb. But there is no receiver of that action, so there is no direct object. Now, if the sentence was, he ran the race well, we'd have a direct object. What did he run? He ran the race. That's right, race would be the direct object. Linking verbs are the second type of verb. These verbs link the subject to a description. Consider this example. Kim is a wonderful friend. Now, in this example, the subject Kim is being linked to the description friend. Linking verbs connect the subject with the what. With the what of the subject. Here's what I mean. Take a look at this list of linking verbs. Am, are, be, being, been, is, was, were. If I use any of these in sentences, I am happy, they are amazing, you'll be rewarded. We can ask what for all of them. I am what? They are what? You'll be what? Some verbs can function as both linking and or action verbs. And to know if the verb is linking or action, consider the meaning of the sentence. Take, for example, the verb smell. Let's place it in two different sentences. The first is, the hikers smelled the campfire from over 2 miles away. In this, the hikers physically used their noses to do something, an action. So it's an action verb. In this, the hikers smelled terrible after their 2-day trip. The description terrible is being linked to the hikers with the linking verb smelled. It's a linking verb. Here's a list of words that commonly function as both linking and action verbs. Helping verbs are the third type of verb. These are added to the main verb to add tense to the meaning of the sentence. Take a look at this example. The group of volunteers sorted the box of donations. The main and only verb here is sorted. However, we often see helping verbs like this one, has. Here's another sentence that shows a helping verb, were, located just before the action verb, dancing. Here are two more examples. In the first sentence, the verb was is helping the main verb, moving. In the second, the verb were is linked to the verb, tired, to the description. Let's move on to simple verb tenses. Verbs have tenses that let the reader know when an action is taking place. So to simplify, verb tense is about when. The three simple tenses are past, present, and future. Let's start with past tense. Past tense is used to report an event or reflect on something as a past experience, of course. It already happened. The writer uses the past tense to let the reader know that an action is over. Here's an example. Maria cooked an amazing meal. In this sentence, the past tense of the action verb cook indicates what the subject, Maria, did last week. But we know she did it in the past because we've added ed to the action verb cook. She cooked. Here's another. Tom was a talented violinist before he lost his hearing. In this one, the past tense of the linking verb was connects Tom with the noun violinist to indicate that Tom used to be an amazing violinist. In this sentence, Casey was using that chair. The past tense helping verb was joins the action verb using to form what we call the main verb, was using. Before we move on to present tense verbs, let's quickly look at regular versus irregular verbs and their use in forming the past tense. We're still on past tense. With regular verbs, the past tense is formed by adding ed, or just d if the verb ends in e, to the end of the base form of the verb. Here's an example. I watched the dog in the yard. Notice that we simply added ed to the end of the word watch to form the past tense. With irregular verbs, however, the past tense is formed differently. Irregular verbs have unique patterns and can completely change form in the past tense. This is an example of a sentence with an irregular verb in the past tense. Shelby wrote her mom a letter for every day she was at camp last month. The past tense of the verb write is formed here by replacing the I with an O, not W-R-I-T-E, but now past tense, W-R-O-T-E, wrote. Here are some common irregular verbs and their present and past tense forms. Let's discuss simple present tense. We're done with past, now simple present. In the present, the writer writes about things that are happening, of course, presently or now. Here's our first example. Jerry watches his coworkers celebrate the merger. The present tense can also be used to describe habits, general truths, or any other action that doesn't change. As we see in this example, gravity causes objects to fall toward the center of the earth. Here's another example. The house is strong and sturdy. In this one, house is linked to the description strong and sturdy with the present tense linking verb is, which lets the reader know that the house is currently strong and sturdy. Here's another. The dog is hoping he receives a treat for his good behavior. This sentence uses the present tense helping verb is to show that the dog is at this moment hoping for a treat. He is present tense. Let's talk about simple future tense. Finished with past, we've just completed present, and now let's discuss future. The future tense is used to describe events or actions that have not yet taken place or to describe plans or instructions. Here's an example of a linking verb used in the future tense. Karen will sweep the porch tomorrow after school. Notice that the linking verb will is being used in the future tense. In this example, the soup will taste delicious when it's finished. The future linking verb will taste connects the soup to the description delicious and lets the reader know that the soup isn't currently delicious but will be when it's finished in the future. Let's take a few minutes to discuss verb forms and functions. Verb forms affect how verbs function in sentences, or how they work in sentences. The base form is the simplest form of the verb. Recall that the base form can be altered or changed to create the past form of a verb. For example, by adding ed, jump becomes jumped, or by changing the spelling, run becomes ran. Here are more examples. Additionally, the base form can be altered, changed, or expanded to create what we call verbals. What are verbals? Verbals are verb forms that function as other parts of speech, like adjectives, adverbs, or nouns in a sentence. So actually, we take a verb, we mess around with that verb to create a noun, or to create an adjective, or to create an adverb out of that verb. Now, there are three types of verbals: infinitives, gerunds, and participles. We're going to talk about those three. The word to plus the base form of the verb creates the infinitive. Her dream is to succeed as a ballerina. In this example, to succeed acts as a noun receiving the verb is. Infinitives. Gerunds are verbals that function as nouns in sentences. So we change a verb to form a noun. They're formed by adding ing to the base form of the verb. Here's an example. Writing is Scarlett's special talent. Now here the verb write has dropped the E and added ing to become a gerund and is also the subject of the sentence. Let's move on to participles. Participles have two types, past and present. Let's talk about the past participle. It's a verb form actually, used to show completed mental or physical action. Now, depending on the function it takes in a sentence, a past participle can end in ed, end, tn, or ne. And past participles most commonly serve one of two functions. They can function as adjectives that show action, or when combined with the correct form of the helping verb have, they form the perfect tense. In this sentence, Gerald was tired after working 2 full shifts. The past participle, tired, is used as an adjective linked to the subject he by the verb was. He was, what was he? He was tired. Remember, an adjective describes a noun, and in this example, tired describes he. Let's examine the second function of past participles by using this sentence as an example. Within 3 months, I had walked a total of 100 miles. Now, in this one, the helping verb had joins the past participle of the verb walk. I had walked to create a main verb. And by the way, by using the term perfect tense, we're indicating finished action. That's what the word perfect in this case means. So from this time to this time, I had walked. The present participle is formed by adding ing. Makes sense, doesn't it? Walk, walking. Join, joining. Run, running. Pay, paying. So we add ing to the end of the base form of the verb. In sentences, they can function in two ways. They can function as adjectives that express an action or state of being, or when you combine them with the correct form of the helping verb be, they form the progressive tense. In this sentence, that confusing lecture lasted way too long. The present participle confusing is used here to describe the subject of the sentence, lecture. Lecture was confusing. In this one, we were cleaning the house when the dog came in covered in mud. The present participle cleaning is combined with the helping verb were. Were cleaning. We were cleaning, to show the action of cleaning was already in progress when the muddy dog came in. And finally, let's consider our last topic, perfect and progressive tenses. There are three perfect tenses: past perfect, present perfect, and future perfect. You'll notice that among these, the common term is perfect, which, when discussing tenses, means completed. The past perfect tense is used to describe a past action that was completed before another past completed action. It's formed by combining had with a past participle of a verb. Let's review a couple examples. I had called my mother 10 times before she picked up the phone. This example shows that the speaker had called their mother 10 times before she picked up, which is an action that also happened in the past. Here's a second example. After she had practiced for 4 hours, Kara could finally play through the whole song. This example again references two past events. Kara could play the whole song in the past, but before she could do that, she had to practice for 4 hours. Two past events. Now, the present perfect tense, or present completed tense, is used to describe an action that happened in the past and continues into the present. It's formed by combining the correct form of the helping verb, have, with the verb's past participle. In this example, I have worked hard on this project all semester and I'm still not done. The subject started working on the project in the past, right? And is still working on it in the present. The action have worked happened in the past and continues, I am still not done, into the present. Now, even though this sentence is written in the negative, it works the same way as the other example. This sentence states that it began raining in the past and continues to rain into the present. Let's move on to future perfect tense. Future perfect tense indicates an action that will be completed before another future event. How is it formed? By combining will have with the past participle of a verb. She will have washed 3 loads of laundry by the time we eat dinner. In this first example, the main verb will have washed indicates that at dinner time, 3 loads of laundry will be finished. When I cross the finish line, I will have completed 5 marathons. In this example, the subject pronoun I will cross the finish line in the future. In that future moment, the subject will have finished 5 marathons. Future perfect tense. In this lecture, we discussed verb types, simple verb tenses, verb forms and functions, and perfect and progressive tenses. Thanks for listening.